It's Tuesday, January 27th. Welcome to Scouting the League. The Super Bowl is set. Patriots and Seahawks, though it is a rematch of Super Bowl 49 when a Malcolm Butler interception gave Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and crew their fourth Super Bowl. There is many new faces on both sides, but on the Patriots side, some familiar faces still around, but many new faces on both the coaching and front office side. While in Seattle, one of the best front office staffs keeps rolling, but they bring in new coaches, new players. They are ready to go and prove it. Going to be a battle of really well-coached teams. So let's talk about it today. But first, make sure you head over, like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Hit those buttons. Give us 5 stars. Make sure you're checking us out on Apple Tunes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or over and on YouTube with that video portion. Hit those buttons, leave your comments, make sure you're sharing this with a friend. Make sure you're getting word out there in 2026 on the best scouting podcast that is out there. Insight you won't hear anywhere else from people that have been in the draft room, whether currently, formerly, or myself, bringing you content every day of the week. Neil Stratton always along for the ride on Wednesdays, as well as special episodes we have here and there. So make sure you check it all out. Head over to rsafootball.com for more information on me, my website, my background, what I do with agents, players, scouts, aspiring scouts, and more, helping everybody in the football industry take that next right step. If I don't have an answer, I will help you find an answer, get you pointed in the right direction, help you take that next right step. Make sure if you're a scout or aspiring scout, you head over and check out thescoutingcommunity.com as well for information, resources, salary information. Scouts may want to check that out. If you're an aspiring scout, networking, what you should be doing, everything is at thescoutingcommunity.com. Make sure while you're there, you check out our partners over at blumaka.com, BLUMAKA.com. Use code Scouting20 at checkout to get the insoles that upgrade your shoes and upgrade your performance. That non-slip insole will improve your performance as soon as you slide it in that shoe. Maybe it's that more padded recovery insole, help with that plantar fascia. Maybe it's that split toe carbon fiber turf toe insole, or anything in between. Don't just have shoes on. Upgrade those shoes with that Blue Maca insole and that code Scouting20. Let them know we sent you. Make sure you've checked out our Monday episodes that we have going on, our Scouting Traits series. Last week, it was major factors, those factors that every position is going to have for every team in some way, shape, or form. This week was quarterbacks. We talked about some of those major traits that teams are talking about when it comes to the quarterback position. So make sure you take a listen as we go throughout. We're going to have edge rushers, those ever important edges, next week. So make sure you check that one out. So we get the battle in the Super Bowl. Seahawks, Patriots. It's going to be a great one. Well, right off the bat, we got 2 defensive head coaches. How about that? In a day and age where they say, hey, no, got to go with the young offensive head coach if you want to win a Super Bowl, if you want to keep everything in place. We got 2 defensive-minded head coaches, Mike Macdonald versus Mike Vrabel. The Mike battle is going to be fantastic. You've got the different ways, the Seattle way, the Patriot way. Again, certainly both have evolved over the years. You've got different owners, Crafts and Allens, who we'll talk about. So let's start with Mike Macdonald versus Mike Vrabel, the defensive head coaches. You better have a plan at OC. We talked about that back on our November 10th episode last year. Make sure you listen to that one again. It was a really highly rated, got some great feedback, some great comments on that one. Again, if you're a defensive-minded head coach, which both these guys are, you better have a plan. But you've got guys who spend most of their time on the defensive side of the ball. You got that number 1 defense over in Seattle, while Mike Vrabel has that defense playing good situational football, changing things up every week, kind of taking some pages out of Vrabel's time in New England as well as Bill Belichick's playbook. So it's going to be really fantastic. So you've got leaders of men. That is certainly something that continues to show up no matter who you talk to. Of course, I've been around and worked for Mike Vrabel, and I can promise you he is a leader of men in every way, which is why he has this Patriot team turned around so quick. Again, one of the great traits that Mike Macdonald had coming up through the process as well. when you start talking about that Seattle way versus the Patriots way, again, it starts with ownership. You want to look at the ownership. Again, the Crafts, again, highly respected, obviously a dynasty with Belichick at the helm for a long time. Tom Brady really staying in the background. Over on the other side, Paul Allen Trust, Jody Allen now running again. Ownership, you really never hear anything about. That was certainly something that showed up maybe in these last few lean years in New England before everything got reset with Elliott Wolf, Mike Vrabel in charge. The Crafts took a step forward with Gerard Mayo as the coach, as Belichick kind of left the franchise. Again, now you have hardly heard about the Crafts throughout this year. The Allens, again, out in Seattle, you really never hear about the ownership group of Jody Allen, Paul Allen Trust out there. Again, you've got good ownership who allows football people to do their football thing. And again, you talk about the Crafts knowing football inside and out from being around the team for as long as they have. Same thing with the Allens. They've owned the team for a good bit, but you have ownership that really allows football people to do football things. Get your coach in the right spot, get your front office in the right spot, allow them the resources, give them the information and whatever they ask for really to make sure their program is in place. Two good ownerships that allow football people to do football things. That's certainly something that both these franchises have in place, and it certainly shows up. Again, with the defensive head coaches, you've got good offensive minds on both sides. You got Clint Kubiak, who could very well end up taking one of these head coaching jobs, as if there are a number open. Certainly a candidate last year, a candidate this year. Again, when he's gone, it's really not a matter of if, but when he's gone these next couple of years, Mike McDonald better have a plan to replace him. You better be grooming somebody else. You better be thinking about somebody else and not just ready to go outside the Seattle way to go find somebody and bring them in. Clint has done great things. You've got a certain offensive system in there. Again, it's not a matter of if, but when Clint Kubiak takes that head coaching job, you better have a plan in place. On the other side, again, Mike Vrabel brings back Josh McDaniels. Again, with McDaniels, is he ever going to take another head coaching job? Is he going to get that opportunity? He's had a couple chances now. Things haven't gone well. He's back in a spot where, again, you can talk about comfort being a good or bad thing. He is certainly comfortable in New England. He's now got a quarterback stylistically that he knows how to work with, that he's won with, that he's proven with. He knows how to handle the weather in New England. He knows all the ins and outs of that building, no matter who is in charge. He's got Drake May continuing to ascend. I expect Drake May to play his best game of the playoffs in the Super Bowl, which is certainly what you need. So again, you've got head coaches kind of on different trajectories, but still could have opportunities to leave, move on, and do other things in the future. With both of these franchises, you got two different ways to find your franchise quarterback. And I think it may be safe to say Sam Darnold is going to be the franchise quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks moving forward. Again, I expect him to get paid again here at some point in the near future, while Drake May still on that rookie contract, continuing to progress, continuing to do good things, finding ways to win, showing that poise, that moxie, that situational awareness that you need. Again, tough year for Drake May last year, growing pains, certainly took some time to get it right. But again, you see the situational football happening. You see the big throws coming together when it matters. Again, it's a different case for Sam Darnold, of course, working his way through the Jets, time in Carolina, now in a system, again, similar to what he had in San Francisco. So it wasn't completely new to him coming with Clint Kubiak here in Seattle. I'd imagine there may have been some conversations behind the scenes between guys that have worked together, highly respected, outside zone system type guys, Clint Kubiak, and people that Sam Darnold had worked with. But again, you talk about the opportunity to take that quarterback, go get him in free agency, move on from Geno Smith, who what he is, with Sam Darnold, who maybe you had a better idea after his time in Minnesota last year. Maybe you have a good feeling after his time in San Francisco, Carolina, and then Minnesota. Again, guys, you have their different spots. Again, one of the things that you can say for the Patriots and Drake May, a tough year, you capitalize on drafting a quarterback. Again, that's something that some franchises do, some don't. Again, in 2021, as part of the Atlanta Falcons, we were in a spot at number 4 overall. Quarterbacks were going to go 1, 2, 3, there were still some guys in that draft that we considered. At number 4, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. We didn't ultimately at the time take a quarterback in that spot. They did now turn around to take Mike Penix in 2024. But when you're in that spot at the top of the draft, it is hard to argue with pulling the trigger on what you expect to be that future quarterback. Again, you think about teams at the top of the draft where maybe they're a couple years away from needing a quarterback, and a guy like Ty Simpson sitting there, sit them, develop them. Teams that expect to be drafting at the top of the first round, again, you're probably going to make mistakes. Expect to draft in the middle to bottom of the first round. So if you're there at the top of the first round, you better capitalize. Go get your future franchise quarterback to make sure you are in a spot to win in the future. As you look at both these franchises, you have your difference. You also have your similarities. Rosters largely built through the draft. You're talking about 40%, a little more than 40% of their rosters have been homegrown, built through the draft UDFA players. Again, almost half for the Seahawks, slightly less than that for the Patriots. Both teams' depth and future rosters will continue to be heavily homegrown as well. Again, not only are starters, they've got a number of starters. I believe it's almost half the starters on both sides of the ball for the team. Both teams are homegrown talent. You've gone out with free agency, with trades, gotten some big pieces to stick in certain spots, but depth and future players that are continuing to develop, players that are continuing to grow with these franchises. You've got going to have a heavy contingent of players for both these rosters that will grow into starters and can make those drafts, make those UDFAs look that much better. Again, success in the future, those key pieces in place. For both teams, you've got relatively young quarterbacks. You've got offensive lines who are continuing to grow, get better every year. And so these rosters do have some similarities from that standpoint as well. On the scouting side, again, you've got two franchises who have continued to get people jobs elsewhere. Open avenues to interview, open avenues to consider other jobs, perhaps just do some research, stay connected, see what is out there. Again, things you hear about both Elliott and Alonso in New England, as well as John Schneider out in Seattle. Again, you've got opportunities. Communicate, do things the right way, keep things above board. Again, it's one of the conversations we have with Ed Dodds tomorrow is going to be all about his time, his trust, the hard part about leaving John Schneider. Again, well known, he's a great guy to work for. Opportunities will come. Again, it's been the same for Elliott everywhere he's been. Now in New England, again, you're going to have opportunities if you're in either one of these spots because you're going to know and learn and work in a system that has been proven. Ron Wolf, of course, really the architect of that. Again, you know that it started in Green Bay there, as well as a number of spots. Again, that is what Seattle employs. I'd imagine that's what Elliott Wolf is employing there in New England. It's going to set you up for future success if you stick with that plan. So both these franchises, lots of similarities, different spots. But again, when it comes down to it, there are many, many reasons discussed on why these two teams have come out of their respective conferences to play in the Super Bowl for the right to hoist that Lombardi trophy. It's going to be a great game. I expect it to be a defensive battle. I expect some nice wrinkles from Mike Vrabel in that defense. I expect that bludgeoning Seahawks defense to come ready to go as well. Expect some offensive wrinkles. I'd imagine this won't be the last time we'll talk about this game as we have about a week and a half here before it comes, but it's going to be lots happening from before that Super Bowl. 2 weeks to prepare, travel, the media circus, events for players, coaches, teams, families, so much more than that. But for both teams, it's a hard place to get to, so enjoy it. For those that love scouting, these are two examples of these two franchises of what can happen on the positive side when people get it right, when you get the person right, when you get leaders, when the front offices are in place, and they're going to reap the rewards here moving forward. Thoughts, comments, make sure you head over. Let me know at Right Step ADV is where you can find everything. You think you disagree with the way these franchises are built. You think they could have done it a different way. You think maybe your franchise needs to pull a page out of their playbook. Let me know. Again, at Right Step ADV. Make sure you continue to tune in tomorrow. Ed Dodds, assistant GM of the Indianapolis Colts, joins Neil and I to talk all things scouting. Raiders, Seahawks, Colts, scouting, so much more. So make sure you tune in, keep following us, keep doing all those things, and make sure you keep scouting.